Welcome. Thank you for joining us here one more time on Microsoft Virtual Academy. My name is Christopher, and I'm here with my good friend Tim. You've probably seen us before. We've recorded a video on mastering Microsoft Certification exam prep, and we're here to continue that, I guess you could call it series. We've got two now, so this is a series. Are we a franchise?
Yeah.
I think it's
Eventually, I
become a
think you need
franchise.
at least 3 to be a franchise.
Well, we'll have to put a third one together then. Today we're here to talk about building an IT certification practice lab. So I'll hand it over to you for your intro.
Okay, thank you, Christopher. Yep, my name is Tim Warner, no relation to Time Warner, and I'm a Microsoft MVP in Cloud and Data Center Management. I work for a training company called Pluralsight, and I've been with Windows since 1997 or so, since Windows NT, and we've talked in the previous course, Christopher. We both go back that far. And I've been into certification since the very beginning. And like you said, Christopher, this is a really good bookend course. It picks up right where we left off with the Mastering Microsoft Certification, MVA. So if you haven't watched that, strongly suggest that you do so. This MVA consists of 8 modules. Sorry. This MVA consists of 8 modules. We're, of course, in Module 1 right now, the introduction. In Module 2, we're going to review something called the Cert Study Pyramid that we explained fully in the Mastering Prep course. We'll treat it here as a quick refresher. Module 3 is introducing the centerpiece of this course, which is how can you build a certification practice lab, ideally with 0 investment. That's the goal, but with minimal investment at the worst. The rest of the course builds on that foundation. How do you assemble the building blocks of the lab? What do you need as far as a host computer is concerned? What do you need as far as evaluation software goes? All of these things. In Module 5, we work with networking, both physical networking on your laptop or desktop host computer, and then what's going on with software-defined networking in Hyper-V, deploying relevant software, and keeping cost to an absolute minimum. We can rely upon Microsoft evaluation software to serve that need. Module 7, important question here. You spend half the day building up a lab and working with it to master a particular set of concepts. What do you do at the end of the day to prepare for your next day's study? We want to consider how to make it as easy as possible to reuse the practice lab environment. And finally, in Module 8, what interest do you have in Azure? You can actually build the entire practice lab in the cloud or even a hybrid environment. This is especially important if your Microsoft certification goals touch on the Azure public cloud. The technology requirements for the course, hopefully pretty reasonable here. For your computing environment, we recommend that you have a hardware computer, potentially a tablet computer, but we suggest at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. The more RAM, the better.
Can I make a suggestion? Since you mentioned a desktop, maybe a tablet, I get to do a little shameless Microsoft plug. So you've seen our previous videos. You may be used to the large, flat, kind of lay-down computers we used to have.
Right.
They were connected to laptops. They were just monitors that we could touchscreen. We've upgraded to Surface Books. If you get a chance, grab one of these. I think I'm allowed to shamelessly plug Microsoft products in MVA videos. I hope so.
Especially because you speak the truth. Before we started recording, we were both really geeking out on these. It's a wonderful computer, and being an author, I'm typing all day long. The keyboard feels awesome.
And if you push the button, oh, I don't know if it'll work. It will.
Oh, okay. Convertible.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
These are great.
Wow. Multi-core CPU, and your BIOS or UEFI on the system should support hardware virtualization. That would be VTX or AMD-V, depending upon whether the processor is Intel or AMD specifically.
And there aren't many that don't support those technologies. I mean, you'd have to almost try to find something that you can't use one of those technologies on these days.
Exactly. And if you're thinking to yourself, whoa, 8 gigs of RAM, 1632, remember that the purpose of the lab is to host virtual machines. And your virtual machines are going to borrow CPU and memory resources from the host. So that's the justification for that. Speaking of which, we're going to use client-side Hyper-V, which is an excellent feature built into Windows 8.1, Pro and Enterprise 64-bit, Windows 10 Pro Enterprise or Education 64-bit. I believe that Microsoft gave us client-side Hyper-V rather, mainly for developers to make it easier to do multiple environments for their testing and their work. But we can use the client Hyper-V server to very good end as IT certification candidates for building our practice lab. Finally, evaluation software. You're going to need a Microsoft account, completely free to do. You likely already have one if you use Microsoft services like Xbox Live, Office 365. They all have that Microsoft account identity as a backbone. And if you want to participate in what we do in Module 8, you'll need an Azure trial subscription. Now, don't worry about the specifics at this point, because over the course of this course, we're going to teach you exactly how to set up the lab from soup to nuts, and I'll show you how to get into Azure if you've never been there before. So here we're just setting the table, basically. What lessons have we learned in this brief introduction module? First, you're going to need both theory and practice to succeed with Microsoft certification, and that's the foundational justification of this course. The theory side we'll discuss a bit in Module 2. The practice side, knowing hands-on what you're doing with Microsoft technologies, is key because, let's face it, no matter what your job role, you're going to need to demonstrate your knowledge. If you're a systems administrator or an aspiring sysadmin or DBA or developer or cloud architect, you're going to have to show your skills. So that's what we're dealing with today. The next module is called Reviewing the Cert Study Pyramid. And one more time I'll mention that this is entirely related and bookended to the related MVA course, Mastering Microsoft Certification Exam Prep. What do you think, Christopher?
It seems reasonable to me, I think, so far. Nothing too outlandish.
Yep, I don't think so either. Well, I hope you're as excited to learn as we are to teach you. So we will see you in that next module.